Come on.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Come on. And then this part, like, just build.
People missed half of it. It took forever for it to go live. It's great music, though.
Don't end it. Don't end it till we hit.
I wasn't going to.
That's so good.
Great music.
Don't end it.
Don't end it. Don't end it. Don't end it. We haven't ended it yet. Do you?
Just keep it going.
Well, I gotta turn it down at least.
You gotta turn it down. Well, no, you better take it down. We're gonna get DMCA.
I was going to. Probably. Okay. What's going on, guys?
What up?
Not much. It's been a long week.
A long week.
We actually had some snow here for those that are not in this area, which was kind of nice. I like snow.
No. No.
Vaccine meat probably doesn't like it.
As a mail carrier, I just want to say that snow can suck it. Okay? Mail trucks were not made for the snow. Mail carriers were not made for the snow. Okay? Like, no. Nothing good about it.
Change your name. You need to change your name to Scrooge.
How do you spell it?
Scrooge me.
Is it O-O-G?
Anyways. SCROOGE.
All right.
You can keep it, vaccine me. Anyways, what's going up, guys? Drop in, hang out, throw some comments out. If you got any questions about anything going on right now,
yes, sir.
We'll try to answer it. But first of all, introduce yourselves. We'll go this
What's
way.
going on? This is on your left, aka Ace Kennedy, all things nerdy over here.
So this is Scrooge. Snow sucks. Christmas is okay. I like Christmas, but snow sucks. Any kind of winter weather sucks. Yeah, that's about it. Ready for the holiday season to be over.
And for everybody else, I am resting Grinch face because that's probably what you'll see when I'm not laughing.
I like that one.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. First of all, let's get to our sponsor.
Hey.
Which is
Sonic.
Sonic. Okay, so we talked last week. Is there anything new coming out for like Sonic stuff? Because they always do something for the holiday.
Yeah, we need a Christmas flavored drink, right?
Yeah. So I've actually had some of these. Let's see if it doesn't want to do it now.
Almost.
Yeah, it did it during pregame, but now it won't.
Yeah,
there you go.
We can kind of see it now. Anyways, so some cool drinks, lots of cranberry. I've had a cranberry Sprite.
Yes,
my wife's actually had that, and that is really good.
Oh yeah, yes. When I used to go to the club, that's what I used to get. I used to get cranberry Sprite and
cranberry Sprite at the club.
Desert driver, like yeah.
So yeah, and if you use the app, it's happy hour all the time. So half price drinks.
Do you think
that's
Rihanna
always
would
a good reason?
If we brought some cranberry and vodka,
you can try it.
No, I say we just don't. I say we just don't tell her. Just tell her it's punch, right?
Sonic doesn't do cranberry and vodka. Just so you know, it's cranberry and Sprite.
That could be a whole new revenue stream, guys.
They have like Coke and cranberry. I'm not sure if I would like that as much, but if that's your thing, go for it.
I'm not into Coke with flavors. Like, I don't know.
You'd like straight Coke.
100%.
That's what I've heard. Anyways, thank you, Sonic, for supporting us.
That's right. Thank you, Sonic.
Hey, Bonnie didn't show up, but I wanted to show her this, so I'm hoping she watches this. But I mean, come on, guys. We were in Walmart. We were in Walmart Christmas shopping for my kids, and I saw this, and yeah, I begged my wife repeatedly. She's like, "We're shopping for the kids," and I'm like, "No, but I need this Halo figure." And she's
you
like,
are a kid. What are you talking about?
100%. I mean, look around. You can see one little wall, but yeah. So I picked me up a really cool Halo figure. I thought Bonnie would appreciate it, so I'll probably show her again next week. But look at all the hands, guys. Like this side, look at all these hands.
I don't understand why he needs all the hands.
Well, to do for like different poses, and then you can have him posing with different guns, and come on, it's Master Chief. Anyway, I was excited about that one.
I bet you were.
He's not apparently.
Ace isn't excited about it. Thanks on your left.
I'm not a Halo guy.
It's not a third person shooter, so he doesn't care.
Are you a Gears of War guy?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You
All right.
speak my language now.
There we go. See, did Gears 5, the newest one, come out on PC?
I don't know if it came out on PC, but I got it on Xbox. I still haven't finished 4, so I bought 5 knowing that it's there waiting for me, but I got to finish 4. But I've been so busy recording music that I haven't had a chance to game. So
I can't hold you.
Gaming update. I did move the Xbox into the bedroom, so we're getting closer.
All right, baby steps. It's baby steps.
Is that where you game, in the bedroom?
Well, I just realized
Sarah.
No, I would prefer it in the living room, obviously with the bigger TV. But Sarah spends most of her time watching all of her stupid shows in the living room. So.
We got that on camera.
Yeah.
Let's put that, somebody clip that.
Clip that out. Send it to her. Make it.
We're gonna need to record that one. So.
Okay, well, let's get on with this.
Yeah.
We are on the second to last Mando that just happened.
Wow.
And tomorrow's the last one for this season.
Where's the season gone?
It goes so quick, does it not?
Yeah, it went away like that crate dragon.
Nobody even remembers a crate dragon.
No, I mean we're so far past that. I mean we got Grogu in handcuffs. Spoiler alert.
So I hated that.
Yeah, we're already talking about Grogu killing somebody. It hasn't happened yet. I think it will though.
You think he's gonna kill someone? If it's Gideon, I'm fine with that. Like, how cool would it be if Grogu force chokes Gideon? I'm all about it.
Not gonna happen. They're gonna keep Gideon around.
Oh, of course they are. Yeah. Yeah, Gideon's not dying.
Do you think we might see Grogu die?
No. God, no.
We never heard of him in like the last 3 movies. I mean, obviously he wasn't thought up then, but
we haven't heard of Cal Kestis either. We haven't heard of Ezra. I mean, there's so many. We haven't heard of Ahsoka. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of Jedi that are still out there, and I think what's interesting is because even though Order 66 happened, there are still Jedi out there that are cutting themselves off from the Force, that are living amongst regular people trying to keep themselves safe. So the thing is that it's very likely that he could still be alive even past episode 9, and he just been in hiding. So there's so much left in the galaxy that we haven't explored yet. So there's ways to make it happen. And Dave Filoni and John Favreau, both of them are key individuals that could necessarily make that work. So it's not even.
Yeah. I mean, he could be on his home planet. I mean, he could be out searching the galaxy for temples, and he could be doing the Luke thing and taking a journey. Like, there's a million things that they could do for, finding an excuse for him not being in 7, 8, 9.
He could also be working as part of the guild as well, not even using his Jedi powers like that.
Yeah, he could just be a bounty hunter with Jedi powers.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we saw that in Ahmad's favorite episode 8. We saw that, with the little boy in the broom and Canto Bite.
Right.
Who then we never readdressed. But, there's plenty of kids out there with Force powers that are undiscovered without the Jedi or without the Sith, trying to hunt people with Force powers down. I mean, those kids that have those abilities, they're out there still, but there's just no one there to teach them and train them. And with Palpatine,
with the broom.
Yeah, exactly. With Palpatine, basically making the Jedi a myth, you really lose. Kids don't know. Kids don't know, and their parents wouldn't know, and the Jedi were feared. So
I wouldn't necessarily say that they don't know. I just think it's one of those things that what you're going to find out is that people are living in fear. Like, you can't let people know that you have these powers or you'll die. And so I think it's more of a fear thing, and that can be an intriguing new Star Wars Disney Plus show. Of course, we already have a line of shows a host of shows that are lined up, but I'm just saying that could definitely be something that could be addressed. So there's plenty to go off of with the things that they set up after episode 9.
Yeah, there's a lot of avenues to go. But I mean, you wouldn't know. Like, if you're a kid on a random planet and you can move things with your mind, you wouldn't know that's the Force, right? Because you'd have no introduction.
this, and I'm not knocking what you're saying, but this is why I think no, because with the HoloNet, with it's almost like Google for us, right? You know, you hear things, you know things, and I think that, like I said, I think because their parents would know about the Jedi and this, that, and the other. So knowing that their kids are special, they may not know what it's called, but they know that there is something going on with inside of them. So it's just like when Rey started to develop powers, right? She knew something was going on with her. She might not have known what it's called or whatever the case may be, but all of these force users out there that have powers and don't necessarily know how to use them could actually be a very dangerous thing because they don't have the guidance to do it. But if they just get upset and just force choke somebody and don't even know how they did that because they thought it with their mind. So it's such an intriguing and wonderful place to be with the lure that's set up.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be pretty cool. And I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm intrigued. I mean, we see in episode 7, she had an idea, because she mentions it, and then Han tells her it's all real. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Palpatine basically made him a myth, but people would still talk about it. So,
what do you mean a myth, though? How do you say a myth?
Well, because when she in episode 7, when she
thought
goes,
they were all gone.
Yeah, when she goes onto the Falcon and they're talking. She's talking to Han. He's telling her, Luke, all that stuff is real. Well, I don't remember the exact line, so I don't want to quote it. But basically, like she makes it seem like it wasn't real. It was all a myth, and then Han's like, no, it was all real.
Yeah, but I think part of that though is just stories that are passed down. It's almost like if you look at our history of things, right? But the thing is that while some people might not have thought it was real, like those are in those small planets or planets that don't necessarily have a bunch of stuff going on.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. Like, yeah, if some kid on a backwater planet, because not every planet in the Republic, or say you get to the Outer Rim, not every planet would have had interaction with the Jedi. They wouldn't have had interaction with the Republic necessarily. So there could easily be pockets or communities that have never heard of the Jedi or the Force. Now, in the Star Wars universe, it's like you said, if you would know something's going on, you'd still be able to use the powers. I just don't know that you'd necessarily know what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you would you really have used the powers? Because, I mean, if you take, Anakin had a huge midichlorian count, and the best he could do, and even Luke, was he just had good reflexes, is really all it came down to.
But I mean, the Canto Bight kid would make it seem like he was using his powers, and he was never trained. So it's really weird, and that's where I'm confused.
But that's not normal. There's never been anything that was something they added in, unless that kid already knew some already.
Yeah, but even Rey though, Rey wasn't trained, and she started using.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
When did she actually use the Force though? Before
training, she used Jedi mind trick.
The ship.
On the ship, she the Jedi mind trick was the one thing, just like we saw Broom Kid do the one thing.
I thought she figured that out because Kylo was already able to read her mind, and so she could hear that, and it gave her the.
But she could see his stuff, but again, not knowing, she still wasn't trained and was still able to do that. Even when she made it to Octu, she got a couple of lessons from Luke. She got 2 lessons from Luke, and the rest of it is what she picked up. So I'm just saying, you think about it from the standpoint of just thinking real world, right? You think of musicians. There are a bunch of musicians that have never been classically trained, people that just play by ear. Where does that ability come from? You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying in the same sense of a Force user, again, yes, there are people that probably need that to be harbored and to be directed, but there are going to be some people that are just going to be like I said, if they're being bullied or picked on, and all of a sudden they think it in their mind, oh, I wish I could do something to them, and they start force choking. That could and even thinking about Grogu, yeah, it says he was trained by many masters, but the thing is that he was a toddler.
Right.
So, even him, he doesn't, he knows certain things, but who taught him how to force choke? I didn't know they was force choking people in Jedi school.
Definitely weren't force choking in Jedi school.
Right.
No, and it makes sense because we talked about it a little bit. I mean, like you said, Grogu would have been basically an infant.
Yeah.
So when they say he was trained, I'm just assuming like the same thing Ahsoka did with him. Like they're sitting down, they're communing with the Force, like just teaching him how to meditate, how to tap into the Force, how to feel the flow, those sorts of things. I mean, they weren't training him with lightsabers and teaching him Force powers. He wasn't out Force jumping or anything like that. So it would have been the very very basics, like how to meditate, how to commune in the Force, like how to let it flow through you, like those sorts of things. So he may have been trained, but it wasn't like he was out there fighting with the Padawans or anything like that. I mean, again, they're not out there fighting as infants. When we see Anakin come into the room with all the younglings, I mean, they're like what, 8 or 9, 10 maybe. I'm not good with kids' ages, but they're that early preteen, like 9, 10. So they're able, but Grogu is 50 and he's still basically a toddler. So I don't know. But it's like you said, like,
Yeah.
and the dark side we know is easier. I mean, the path to the dark side is always easier because it's out of anger. So it's like you said, you get angry, you want to throw something, you want to punch something. Well, now you got the Force behind it. And when you get angry and you let that rage build, you're just tapping into the Force. It's so much easier than with the light side. So I totally get it. I like it. And I think you're right. It could be a really cool concept for a series down the road. Could be cool.
Yeah.
So, what did you guys think of the new episode? Shane, Scrooge, you go first.
Okay, so I talked to Ace a little bit about this, but this is the only episode. Like, now, first off, I loved it, obviously, but I wasn't disappointed in this episode. I'm really excited to see where we're going. So this episode felt like filler material to me, and I know we had this whole conversation about filler and things like that, but like of all the episodes, I felt like this episode was purely there to get us to the final episode. And it was really cool. Like, I mean, I love the setup. I love the plot. Like, and it had some cool moments in it. Ace, who's the character that they brought back? What's his name?
Mayfield.
Yes, Mayfield.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see his character come back. And look, I'll be honest with you, I forgot all about his character, after his episode in season 1. But like, I mean, I loved his character in this episode. Like, they expounded on it, and it was really cool. I love the whole scene. And we see some stuff with the helmet. He actually takes the helmet off, but he does it for Grogu, like, because this is how he gets Grogu back. So I love that we get to see how much the Mandalorian cares for Grogu, and like how important it is for him to get it back.
Oh wow,
nice Perry. So yeah, like I love the whole setup, and like the ending sequence to me was my favorite. Like when he's sitting there and they're having the conversation at the table. Well, not the ending sequence, but they're sitting there having the conversation at the table, and he talks about Operation Cinder, which is a cool throw into the series, the Aftermath series, and we see that too in the Shadows, right? Shadow Squadron. Alphabet, thank you. Alphabet Squadron. We hear a lot about Operation Cinder in that. So it's cool to get those tie-ins, especially for people that read the books. And then, he finally loses his crap. And then look, what made the whole episode for me was the last scene when he repeats his whole thing
Moff
back
Gideon
to him.
said.
And you just know, like, dude, I'm coming for you. Like, I mean, I was ready. I'm like, dude, give me the next episode now. Like, bring it.
Well, see, I know this is a filler episode. Like I said, I think episode 1 of season 2 and then this particular episode might have been a filler. But I actually like this episode a little bit better because even though it might have been quote unquote a filler, it still aided towards the plot. We got to see, Pedro Pascal's character finally take his helmet off, and to show that even though he has this creed, something that he's been, clinging on to from the beginning, and it's like he's willing to do anything to save Grogu. So he took his helmet off and showed his face, which I thought was a sign of respect from Mayfield when after it was over, he said, I never saw your face. And I thought that was a nod. Like, listen, man, I told you while we were driving in this truck that we're all the same, some kind of way. And so the fact that you're willing to do whatever it takes for what you're doing, and I'm willing to do what it takes for me. Because for Mayfield, it was one of those things. He had a complex to where he seemed to, regret some of the decisions that he made, and people that he cared about died. And looking across from him, he has this Imperial officer who couldn't care any less for these individuals that passed. So I just think that it was a great to see the character development of both Mando and Mayfield. And I really like the fact that Boba Fett cleaned up his armor. Like, I know a lot of people didn't like that, but I was just like, why wouldn't he clean it up? It's been years since he's had it on. Now that he has it back, I think he would try to clean it up, especially Mando's is over here all shiny and chromed out. So yeah, I'm definitely I thought the episode was great. I thought it was interesting though. Another controversy about the episode is because the pirates were basically trying to blow up this radonium. I think that's what it's called. Ain't that what it is?
It's something like that, yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Well, they were trying to blow it up, and then Mando sitting here fighting them off and killing them, offering them to do the same thing.
Yeah, and Ahmad, I'm going to steal yours. You want to bring up the big glaring question you had that we talked about?
Go ahead.
Tires.
Oh my gosh, that bothered me so bad.
Fired out there, Ace.
Bro, why in all of Star Warsdom did we have tires on this tank thing?
Why do we have tires?
Why? What was the purpose? Everything else floats, but all of a sudden we have tires. That bothered me so bad.
And you even go to the Clone Wars and you look at the vehicles they used in the Clone Wars, like the big tanks. They had the giant wheels, but they were like nothing has ever had tires.
It's always been legs or it flies.
Yeah,
that bothered me so bad.
And it didn't even occur to me. I was just so excited watching him throw people under him and stuff. I'm like, sweet, squish them. But then you brought it up, and I'm like, why are there tires? Like,
and the sound that it makes, like as they're going underneath.
Yeah, because it threw me off. Like, it was one of those things. Like, it just was so jarring that I just kind of like looked back. Like, are you serious? They got tires? Like, that threw me off.
It's weird because
it didn't throw me off at all. I just kept watching.
It didn't throw me off until you said it, and now all I can see are giant tires, and it's got like 15 of them. Like why wouldn't it be a hover? Like, because we've seen other things. We see it with the troop carriers and things like that. Everything is a hover, or like you said, it's a walker, so it's got legs. But like, why tires? Like, I don't know.
Jared, what do you think of this episode, bro?
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, the Boba Fett thing. I have to say that it was weird seeing, like, you've never seen it clean.
So clean.
Not even when he like first was seen as Boba Fett was it clean. So it's got this like matte finish, and it just looks like one of the toys that they used to make, that like one of the bad toys that you're looking at and you're like, man, this does not look right. Yeah, the Wish version, exactly.
So here's an odd question. So this is
Baba Feet.
Yeah.
This is not the armor that Jango wore, right?
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, he just painted it.
Yeah.
So he painted
seen
it. So because remember when he gets his head cut off, it's not the green. It's more of like a silver and blue, right?
Yeah.
So okay,
yeah,
he kept the armor and then just changed the paint scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figure out how he got his head out the helmet.
I mean, that would have been a little weird, right? You have to pry your dad's head out of the helmet, and then don't worry, Dad, I'm going to wear it. So
that's his problem. He is just
he cleaned it well.
Insane now.
And he's only like 10 or 11 there.
Yeah. He had an arc in Clone Wars, so he had a nice little arc.
Got to scoop Dad out of the Mando armor.
Yeah.
So,
anyways, but I thought all that was cool. I liked seeing we had the sniper stuff going on with Cara Dune and what's her name? Yes, Fennec. So I mean, that stuff was pretty cool. Seeing them kind of shoot some of that stuff, and seeing Mando with that when he switches out from his best car into the uniform, and he's just like, you could tell that he's not liking this. And then when they go to start fighting, he's just like, This does not.
No,
I'm used to being able.
Arm, and he was just like,
I'm used to protection. This is not right.
Yeah. The other thing too, they did create a lot of toys with
toys. Yeah. How long can we get a Mando in a stormtrooper armor? A Mando without a helmet,
removable helmet. And here's the thing: Bill Burr had one of the greatest lines in it. He said, "Ugh, this uniform is so sweaty," or something like that. Like, it's still wet. Like, yeah, I don't think this dude is showered. And so, like, just think about that. How many stormtroopers we see in the sand and all this, that, and the other. Like, oh, that was great.
It was really well done, and like obviously it's all building towards tomorrow, like or midnight, I guess, just in a few hours. Like it's building towards something awesome, and I'm so excited to see how they end this season.
The last episode, and I'm sad.
It went way too fast.
Too. That's what I told Shane. Asked me Sunday. He was like, "Are you ready for the episode?" I was like, "No." I was like, "Then it's gonna be over."
That means we're done. Yeah.
Right. Now, I do hope we get another Disney Gallery for season 2. That would be epic.
Now they did announce today that we're getting a 1 hour making of on Christmas Day.
Okay.
Season 2 making of.
That was the Christmas release that they were talking about. Yep.
Yeah.
Gallery starts next week.
So is it a gallery? Because I couldn't tell if it was a gallery or just a 1 hour thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other gallery. Thing, too, the villain that they actually used for this episode is actually a famous villain from he was in Game of Thrones. He was the Night King.
I would never have guessed that.
Yeah. Yeah. He was the original actor for the Night King.
He was in something else too.
Yeah, they listed off.
I've seen
he was in. I can't tell you, but he was an incredible villain. Like he was that old school, heart ruthless villain, which especially because me and Shane read those novels. Like if you think back to even like Fallen Stars, what is it?
Falling Stars.
What is it? Some stars. Anyway, I'll think of it later. But anyway, even in that novel, you have some of those Imperials that are just like that are just like so about the Empire that humanity just leaves them. And so yeah, it was really interesting to see that type of character in the Empire when the Empire is no more, but somebody who is still that much of a loyalist. And so I thought he was a great antagonist. And then when Bill Burr just pulled up and shot him, and then they're like escaping, going through the window, and all of the troopers are falling out the window and going over the edge. It was just amazing. And all the screaming and stuff, like really, really, really throwback to old style Star Wars stuff. So it was great.
That was a cool episode.
I mean, he pulled out his gun and shot him like Han shot Greedo.
Yeah,
it was just like bang. It wasn't even like.
And then they pan over to Mando
whatsoever.
Mando's like, "What just happened?" Like it's on. So good.
He was like, "Oh crap,
it's on."
Lost Stars.
Now, how else were they going to get out of there? Like, you weren't just going to be able to walk out.
No, that's why I'm glad they went out the window. I thought that was epic, and it seemed like all the because that's the other thing somebody brought up. They watched this episode, right, and so. All of the stormtroopers are cheering and everybody's cheering like, yay, they made it, yay. How could nobody talk to them when they got out the plane?
And why is the console that they need in the dining room? Like, why do you put the console that can let you access the locations of the Imperial ships in the dining room? Like, I've been in a lot of like dining rooms, and I've never seen a very, very important computer console just like set off in the corner. Like, don't worry about it.
I mean, this is still a secret base, though. I mean, so I don't think that it was ideally built in order to have it the right way. And that's a comment that's over there on the side too. Thank you very much, Bill.
Yeah, Billy. Yeah, it's a good show.
Nice.
And I'm glad you're here.
Yes. Thank you for watching.
Okay, so speculation. What do we think is going to happen? Obviously, we know that Mando is on the way to go get Moff Gideon. Like, he pretty much dropped his ultimatum back at him. So, what do you think is going to... You'd have to be thinking, okay, this guy's serious. I'm crapping my pants right now, kind of thing.
I mean, but is he? He's got all his death troopers. He's got his whole shit. I mean, Mando's got 4 people if we count Kara, assuming she stays with him. So,
well, considering he should be like hidden and not be like nobody should know where he's at, and somebody just pops up.
It's true.
If I just popped up on your screen and I said that I'm coming for you, I'm pretty sure you're gonna go grab your gun and go, okay, I gotta get ready.
I'm excited for it. What do you think, Ace?
I honestly think that we're going to see Bo-Katan them again. I think that they all will join up. So it'll be Bo-Katan and her crew, plus Fennec and Boba Fett. I don't know if Kara will be there, but I think you will have this group that's going to actually have to sneak on his vessel. I don't think that they're going to make it to wherever they're trying to go to get Grogu to the Doctor. And I think that we'll have this epic battle on his star cruiser, and they will get him back. And then after that's over, they're going to take a trip back to that rock, or we will see a scene at that rock where a Jedi will show up. I don't know which Jedi. Obviously, my vote is for Luke, but I wouldn't be opposed to Ezra. I wouldn't be opposed to Mace. I wouldn't be opposed to. I heard the Native American Jedi. I can't think of his name.
His name.
Oh my gosh! But him, I wouldn't be opposed to him. So yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. And now I'm gonna have to look up old dude's name because that's gonna bother.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the same page. The only thing I'm curious about is if Kara calls in the Republic, because I don't really see how they can sneak on to his ship with the Slave One. Obviously, I'm sure they'll come up with a way, but I think it would be cool if we see her call in the Republic. Like, hey, we've got an Imperial cruiser, we've got a remnant out here, so they send in, a couple cruisers or something, just something to help them, and then they use that. They distract them with a couple cruisers, and they're able to sneak on board the ship. I don't think we're going to kill Gideon or anything like that. I think we will see him fight Gideon, and this is where we'll get him using the Beskar pike against the Darksaber, which is going to be awesome. Yeah. So I'm excited for that because we haven't seen Gideon really do much with the Darksaber, and we've already seen Mando fight Ahsoka. So that would be cool, but I do think he's going to get Baby Yoda back, and I 100% think we're going to get some closing scene. I mean, even if it's something where we only see like the robes or like, his hand or something like that, I think we're going to see the Jedi, and that's how they're going to wrap the season up. And that'll springboard us into season 3. So, but
kind of how they did Boba Fett in season 1, and we got it. And the name of that Jedi was Quinlan Voss. I don't know why I couldn't think his name.
Do we know what happened to Quinlan Voss?
Quinlan Voss kind of bounced around. He was a gray Jedi too. Like he had some dark side tendencies as well. It felt like that whole crew, like Yoda. I mean, not Yoda, but Mace Windu and Qui-Gon, all of them old guys, bro. They done dipped into the dark side a little bit.
Well, think how boring it was back then when they were growing up, man. There were no Sith. Like, you weren't fighting anybody. Like, those guys had nothing better to do than dabble.
Bro, me and you read Master and Apprentice, and know how your boy was getting down in there.
Yes, we did.
He was like, "Hey, they said no attachments. They ain't say we couldn't balance the force over here." So I don't know what.
There was some force balancing going on, and like, look, I mean, they're a group of pretty bad people. Okay, like, you got powers. You're wicked cool. Like, ladies dig it. So
hey man, we seen the boys, bro. You see how powers can be used.
I mean, and look, we lost Dooku too. I mean, Dooku was that same generation. So, and Dooku turned full Sith.
Right.
Yeah. So, and Dooku, and Dooku necessarily wasn't even really Sith. He just really studied a lot of the dark side because he never really had the power trip like all the other. If you think about it, he never really had the power trip. He just was like I just want to learn. He was more of a student and my Tyler is killing me tonight. He was more of a student of both of the Force period.
Yep.
It was good or bad, and even like I said in Master and Apprentice, he didn't really show himself as going over to the Sith. It just was, I want to study both sides. Like I think he was truly a gray Jedi. That's my bet. I
think he was a darker leaning gray Jedi.
He was darker, but I think to me, he had more control over his thoughts, though. He never, like, if you notice, a lot of the Sith ended up with the yellowed eyes and their face start deteriorating. Dooku didn't. Like, he just, to me, he kind of, even in Clone Wars and all of that stuff, he had Apprentice. He did stuff that the Sith did, but to me, it wasn't never like, I'm trying to overtake Palpatine or nothing like right. It wasn't any of that. It was just more so like, and like I said, the Master and Apprentice really showed me that he was more of a student of the source. Like he just wanted to know more information. He wanted to know about the holocrons. He also started to sense himself like the more and more I studied this, I felt myself pulling. So I just kind of back. So I felt like Dooku had it under control, but he did lean more on the dark side because he felt like the Jedi kept him from stuff. It was almost like he felt like y'all are lying to me. It's not so much that he wanted more power. He just wanted to know about power.
Right.
He just knew that the Jedi were corrupt in a different direction. It wasn't the fact.
So, his whole thing was he didn't agree with the council and all that. So exactly what you said, Jared. Like he was basically just disillusioned. And then he was a count. Like there's a reason they call him count. Like he had
called him dark.
He left and he became a count like on his home planet, and like he was always rich and he always dressed like fancier than the rest of the Jedi and stuff like that. So there was always that disconnect there with him. He was always a little bit different, and he did not agree with the masters and stuff like that. And he like I said, he really wanted to go a different direction. And I mean, obviously he became Palpatine's apprentice, and he had apprentices of his own and stuff. But I mean, he was one of the more I don't know, like you said, Ace, like he didn't go full like Palpatine dark side. Now he may have if he had lived longer. I mean, Anakin kind of, cut him short of that. So
yeah, but I mean, I think we saw his best years in the Clone Wars, and it didn't seem like that was his goal. I think he was definitely surprised that Dooku sensed, because that was a thing with the Sith, like we want you to try to come and kill us, and so if you don't, then you're weak, and I don't need you. So it's like you getting old, you ain't even trying to kill me no more. Like, nah, bro, it's over.
Yeah, and he totally got played by Palpatine. I mean,
do it.
Totally got played by Palpatine.
Do it.
That's such a good soundbite.
Yeah.
Okay, so we think a Jedi is going to show up at some point. I think we're going to get Grogu back. I think there's going to be some underlying darkness to him, though, that he's going to have to deal with. I think that's my, or instead of a Jedi that felt him, it was going to be like somebody Sith related in that realm.
That would be super because we don't know of any Sith other than, we don't know of any Sith right now because Palpatine is dead. So right. I mean that would be a massive introduction, to this time frame of the Star Wars of the universe. Like if a random Sith popped up, that would be cool. I mean that's a great idea. I mean it'd be a really cool thing to do.
They might not be considered like Sith, but it's somebody that reached out in the Force and he felt that, and he's more dark.
I mean we see it with Grogu already. I mean he's not afraid to use. He's not afraid to use dark side powers. I mean, he's force choking.
Out of fear and anger, he's definitely
like a training.
Yeah, and and same reason Ahsoka said she was nervous because she wouldn't go down that same path. What we saw with Anakin, like, he's a little older now. I mean, a little older. He's still a toddler, but he's still a little older, and there's so much fear and anger and anxiety and stuff like that. Like, he's set up to go down the dark side path. We've already seen it, so maybe that's why he's not in 7, 8, and 9. He's a Sith Lord out somewhere in his own temple.
I think we'll eventually lose him, and he's going to be used as Gideon.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Speaking of,
he's not killing him.
I think they're going to suck his life out.
No way they kill baby. No way they kill Grogu.
When this show is over, he's going to be dead.
No.
When they decide to cancel this show,
$20.
He'll be dead.
$20. He's not dead.
Okay.
All right, you're on. Or no, I'll buy you lunch. I'll buy you lunch if they kill him. You buy me lunch if they don't.
Okay.
All right. It's not gonna happen.
I think it will, but that's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's move on. So, Cyberpunk.
Oof.
Speaking of darkness,
It's been a bad week.
So have you played it at all?
Yes. So let me start out by saying this. Cyberpunk came out. I think it was whatever. Cyberpunk
last Friday.
Last Friday. Cyberpunk came out a little less than a week ago. a massive release. Sold 4.5-ish million copies on the PC, and right around the same on console. CD Projekt Red came out and said that it had already paid for itself, including production and advertising. So it's already in the green. And then the problem started. People played it on the PS4 and the Xbox One, not the new consoles, the last generation, and the game is essentially unplayable. The graphics look like PS3 or Xbox 360. Like, it is brutal. It's buggy. Some people say it's not even playable, like game breaking crashes and things like that. So there's a massive controversy. CD Projekt Red came out just a couple days later and issued an apology, saying that they focused too heavily on PC and new consoles, and they put very little attention into the generation that 140 million people on the PlayStation side are playing, and a massive amount, 70 or 80 million on the Xbox. So a massive misstep from CD Projekt Red. Sony and Microsoft, they made some promises that CD Projekt Red did not fulfill. CD Projekt Red, see, look at that.
This is what Xbox and PS4 users got to see.
Look at that. That's literally like PS2. Like, it's brutal.
That's the Nintendo 64 right there, bro.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even finished is the problem. Like this is unfinished textures and like not even mapped out. And they released this to the public. And here's the thing: this game has been in development for 10 years. Okay, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X were not in development 10 years ago. They did not have dev kits, so they were building this on the current hardware. Like when we saw it at E3 all those years ago, it was for the original hardware. But everything that we saw, so like the real crux of the problem is that when they gave out review copies, they gave them out to media, but they only gave them PC codes. They did not give them any console codes. And when people started to actually release the reviews, when the embargo was up, they were not allowed to use footage they had captured. They could only use footage that CD Projekt Red had put out. So there was a clear orchestration from CD Projekt Red to only show the good and not let people see how bad it was. So yeah, the game paid for itself, but now they're getting, rightfully so, absolutely destroyed.
And now, what's the hashtag? Cyberbug.
Yeah, and look, guys, I've got it on. Okay, so I bought it. I'm going to be completely honest. I bought the collector's edition because I'm one of those dumb people. I paid way too much money for it, but I got it on the Xbox. And then when I started seeing all the controversy and stuff like that, I immediately went to GameStop and bought a PC code. So I bought 2 copies of the game. Okay, I put it on my PC, and it is the single most gorgeous game I've ever seen. It is stunning, and just walking around the town and stuff like that. The game is stunning. I never booted up on my Xbox. I didn't install it. I actually just sold my copy to a friend who needed one. So I never booted it up. But on the PC, the game plays well. There's some bugs and stuff, but there's nothing game breaking that I've seen. It's one of the prettiest games I've ever seen. It's not for children. If you got kids, don't play it when they're in their room. Okay, like literally from the create a character screen on, it's not children friendly.
Here's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
See, that's a totally different thing. You can see the guy's eyes, and
I'm running it on high and ultra, and it looks like that, and it's smooth and now there's some bugs and stuff, but guys, it's gorgeous, and the story so far, I'm not very far into it. The story so far is fantastic.
These are actual photos from screen captures from it.
Yeah, and running it on high settings and ultra and stuff like that, it looks like that. The game is gorgeous. It's got and what CD Projekt Red has done is they've asked people to give them a chance. They said that there's major patches for the other consoles coming out in January and February. We don't obviously know anything about what's in those patches, but they released an unfinished game on those consoles, and they're rightfully taking a beating for it. But if you have a high-end PC, I can't recommend getting it. It plays smoothly, I hear. Well, it plays okay on the PlayStation 5 and the Series X, but it has not been optimized for those systems yet. That update's supposed to come out next year too. So yeah, they released an unfinished game, but if you have a PC and you have a high-end PC, pick it up and play it because it's stunning. But if you have a console, stay away.
And the funniest thing about everything, you can customize just about everything. Like
Just about.
they've
Not just
got
about.
they've got like 100 different like eyes and like 100 different hairstyles. I mean, it was ridiculous. I was watching a guy playing that me and Scrooge like to watch. And his name's Gathalion. And so he's going through there and he's flipping down and he's like, "That's a penis."
You can
But you only come in small and large though.
you can pick your genitals. You can also you can customize your pubic hair. So CD Projekt Red really put some. It put
And hey, you gotta make sure that you got the right saber. You know what I'm saying? You need for force balance. You gotta have.
But you only get two choices.
Yeah,
What
there is
about
literally
the
only-
rest of us?
there literally is only two choices.
Ahsoka had two size sabers. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pick one.
That's only two options. So I mean, they put so much attention to detail. Like it's really disappointing to me because like The Witcher is literally one of my all-time favorite games. I love everything about The Witcher, and I played The Witcher exclusively on console before I got a PC that was capable of playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it played well. It looked great. Like one of my favorite games. I'm gonna let Ace field that question.
Hey, that's because the black iPhone is bigger.
Because it is bigger.
That's yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
You-
yeah, it's really disappointing to me because they did so well with The Witcher on the consoles.
You can customize color, but you can't customize that much.
Yeah.
So CD Projekt Red's got a lot of. I mean, they're getting beat up PR wise. Luckily for them, the game's already in the profit, so they're not losing money.
Yeah.
Except for the ones that they told that you could just send it back, though.
Yeah, they're backpedaling on that now, though. So
Are they?
Yeah, they're taking a beating on that now too. They told people they could get refunds, but there is no official refund policy. So they're getting beat up for that. And here's the thing too: like we've seen, especially in video games, like we're so quick to attack these companies, and sometimes rightfully so. But we've seen major releases stumble. Like one of my favorite games of all time, Destiny, has taken a beating multiple times, and they continue to work on it. They continue to improve, and it's still, I think I saw the other day it had 80-something thousand concurrent players on Steam, which is like 10 times, their next nearest competitor in that genre. And so you look at No Man's Sky. I mean, took a beating for over-promising and not delivering, and they've constantly worked on it, and it's now an incredible game. So you can overcome these issues. You can overcome them, but they went from one of the most reputable studios, everybody praised CD Projekt Red. They've taken a huge PR hit, and people aren't going to trust them. So they're going to have to build that trust back. But I mean, if we give them the time, which is what they're asking for, I think the game's going to be amazing on all the consoles. They just have got a long ways to go, and to release a product that's not ready, it's rough, man. I feel bad for people that bought it on consoles.
That's totally unfortunate, and I think that, like you said, they got a lot of trust to earn back. So those updates better be incredible.
Well, the problem though is that it is mostly a single player campaign mission, basically, and typically people don't go back to that.
Yeah,
they don't. It's not. I mean, it's one and done normally. It's just gonna sit there, or you're gonna sell it back to GameStop or whatever. And so, with the people that are like, I'm done with this, they're not going to waste their time to go see all the extra work they're going to put into it. They're done.
Yeah.
It reminds me of WWE 2K20, and I don't even think they put out a 21 just because of how much backlash they received for 20. So I understand exactly what you're saying, Jared. Like people's attention spans are they're too quick. And so, fool me once, shame on me, but fool me twice. I mean, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. So like they ain't going for that.
It's a studio that could do no wrong until they did do wrong. Like I mean, they were
and they are going to be crucified for the next 5 years.
Well, I mean, it took 10 years to develop this game, so we're 10 years out realistically from the next CD Projekt Red game, which is going to be The Witcher 4. So they have 10 years of now. I don't think I don't know if they can repeat the success of The Witcher 3 because they didn't have a stumble with The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 came out and it was so well received, game of the year, people loved it. And honestly, like it still sells well after 10 years. Like they're still making money off The Witcher 3. But with this game, I don't know that like you said, I don't know that you're going to get that. I think you've ruined like you've lost all your momentum. Yeah, and now can they build it back? I legitimately don't know. It's like you said, there's not a multiplayer component that we know of. I've heard rumors that there may be, but it's not out now.
But is it even worth the time?
I mean, to me, the game is like, I mean, I'm in. I mean, I play it. It's amazing, but I'm lucky and I'm playing it on PC. Like, I can wholeheartedly admit that. Now I have both consoles and I'm a huge console gamer. So don't think I'm like PC master race over here. I mean, I'm a huge console gamer, but to me, this is a game that you have to play on PC. And if you have a console, like wait for a year. Like wait for a year, let all this junk come out. And then, when we're in a dead zone, which we always are sometimes with video games, like in between major releases, go buy this game and you'll love it. But let CD Projekt Red actually put out the product because they should not have released this game on console.
Yeah.
So that's my review. Amazing on PC. Don't buy it on any other console.
There you have it.
I mean, and what it comes down to is when you release stuff, how you release it's going to have an effect on how people think. Yeah. And with that, the HBO Max stuff.
Oh my God.
That is like, this is like the movie version of this.
Yes.
In the sense of people are just, you have all these people that are working on these major projects that are pissed now because, okay, there's a difference between making movies for like TV and making movies for the theater and how much time and money actually goes into those. And I mean, we got directors. I mean, Ahmad, I'll let you talk about it.
So basically, HBO or Warner Brothers decided that they were going to put these movies directly to streaming because of the fact, obviously, nobody knows when the theater experience is coming back. And when you look at it, the problem isn't so much that they decided to make this announcement. The problem is they didn't let none of their partners know that they were going to make this announcement. The only people that got notification that something like this was going to happen was Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot. And they were both paid, I think, $10 million in advance for that. And that because that's part of their back end contract stuff. So some of the other people that have back end contracts and stuff, you got was it Searchlight, who paid for 75% of like Dune and some of the other movies that are coming out. How are they supposed to get their money back? Like the revenue share split is all jacked up. The other thing is that once these movies leave the theater, they then go into another negotiation for the streaming services. So let's say that if like Warner Brothers, right? They may say, okay, we're going to pay $85 million for Dune. But then Amazon decides, well, we'll give you 95. And then Netflix is like, well, no, we'll give you 125 million for the movie. So then Warner Brothers, because they own it, they still have the option to say, okay, now that it's been in the market share, we will pay the 125 million because that's what Netflix offered up. And so they would have to pay the 125 million. Well, they skipped that step. They just went to say, okay, we're going to put it on our streaming service. So they're not paying market share value for these projects. And then out on top of that, they're not getting the theatrical release. Or they are, but it's in conjunction with the release straight to HBO Max. So they're skipping a bunch of steps. So now there's massive lawsuits that are in place. And so I think in the beginning, Warner Brothers said, well, look, it's kind of one of those things. We don't have time to talk to all of our partners. We're just going to go ahead and make this announcement. And then we're willing to take on the cost of the lawsuits, but not understanding how much of lawsuits could have been, because it's a mess. And so what's also happening is these directors are coming out and finally speaking up about it. And these directors are like, listen, we made these movies because we thought this company was progressive and we thought this was one of the best places to work. And now we're basically putting movies together for your failing streaming service. That wasn't part of the deal. And you didn't even have the decency to come talk to us about it. What's essentially going to happen is directors are going to boycott working with Warner Brothers. Yeah. And it's terrible because, and then the biggest thing is they knew the Disney investors call was coming. They thought it was going to panic Disney, and Disney was going to be like, okay, we're going to release Black Widow. We're going to release this and stuff. And Disney was like, no, 2021, May 2021, we still dropping Black Widow. In November, we dropping this. And like they just kept like, nah.
And by the way, we're
Makes
still
sense,
dropping
right.
Disney Plus stuff.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, strategy.
So-
We're rocking both sides of it.
Warner Brothers was like, oh, geez, they done messed everything up. So now they out there on a limb by themselves. And so it's basically where we're at. And it's a mess. So a bunch of lawsuits. Now for the us as the consumer, obviously the announcement was incredible for us because there are still some people who won't be ready to go back to that theater experience, even in 2021. But it was one of those things. It was an announcement that did not have to happen right
5
away.
years.
Right. It didn't have to happen right away. Because even if people get the vaccine, even if certain people do feel okay about doing that theater experience, doesn't mean we're going to have the revenue back in on it. And so Disney is in a place where they're like, look, we made projections on when our movies are coming out. We always can push it back. We can always make a different plan if need be. But the thing is, Disney owns those movies.
And like you said with the directors and stuff like that, I think we're going to see more actors because like big name actors get the cut on the back end. Like you said, Gal Gadot, they paid her $10 million. Like Dune is a huge movie, and I don't know the production cost, but I'm going to assume it's at least 300 million. And if you said that other studio took 75% of that, like how are they going to get their money back without a theatrical release?
Right, especially if they don't make $1 billion.
Because they're not going to make $1 billion if you're releasing it to HBO Max. So like, you know, like Tom Hanks, the major actors, Tom Cruise, they get that cut on the back end. And I'm ignoring your $1 billion question, your $1 billion comment. They get that cut on the back end. So if let's say it only makes 50
Just like we
million,
ignored Last Jedi.
yeah, exactly. Let's say it makes $50 million in the theaters, right? Well, then, you know, they have 100 million streams on HBO Max. How do you translate those streams into money? And so if you haven't negotiated that, I mean, if they had contracts going into these movies, they're going to lose in court. This could wind up costing them a fortune.
Well, I get your point. I really do. I do think though, this is almost like the music industry when streaming came up, right? Because even just 5 years ago, we were still in a position where we were selling physical media like CDs, where now streaming is the big deal, which is why record companies aren't making as much money and aren't offering the same deals when they were breaking artists that were releasing physical media. So while I do think that some of the A-listers may step away from HBO, I only think it's going to be for a season, because at the end of the day, let's say that this continues to go, they're the first company that decided to go into full streaming. Well, like if Jared says, okay, we're only going to have, it's still going to take like 5 years before we even get back to a point where the industry can be at a place that we're watching these movies in theater. This is going to allow opportunities for some of the B, C, and D list actors opportunities, because people aren't going to work with Warner Brothers, and we can still get some quality movies out of it. If you look at Netflix, right? While I understand that Netflix is using some A-list artists now in some of their movies that they're releasing straight to streaming, that was negotiated up front. So I think coming into a new contract with Warner Brothers, it will be established up front that, hey, this is going straight directly to the streaming service. The artists will want to work there. I mean, you got Anthony Mackie that's got a movie that's about to come out on Netflix here in January. You know what I'm saying? And he's been working with Netflix for quite a while. He's been in some of the Black Mirror series, and he has the Falcon and Winter Soldier about to come out in March. So I do think that actors will eventually start working at Warner Brothers, especially if that money is right.
Once they get the contract language figured out and it's built in, like, hey, you know, this is going to be on HBO Max. So, and then you could adjust the back end revenue, like, hey, if we get 50 million streams in the first week or whatever, we'll cut you so much. So,
well, even Disney is already moving forward too with the contract talks, because they're even taking some actors whose contracts were directly lined up for the movies, and they're switching them over to the streaming contracts. So that is,
and all that.
Yeah, there is a conversation that is happening.
The only people right now that are worried about it is the old money, the old directors, the older actors, because there's a lot of new actors. Netflix series Stranger Things, there's several characters out of that that they are in major movies now, major TV shows and stuff, and they don't care whether it's in the theater or not, because they started on a platform that is streaming. So I don't think they're going to care as much that HBO. I mean, they'll jump over to it and go, yeah, I'll make a movie for HBO. Go for it. Put it on Max.
The real misstep here was not negotiating with your partners before you made this announcement.
Absolutely.
Like, we wouldn't be seeing the backlash if they just took the time to negotiate with the lawyers and all that stuff and get the contracts hashed out before they came out and told the world.
Yeah.
But it's like Amada said, they're trying to scare Disney, and Disney's just like, dude, we already have a plan. So
yeah, I think they threw it out there hoping for the best, and it didn't work out in the way they thought it was going to.
I mean, people love it, but not the people that actually make your content.
Yeah.
And we didn't even talk about Tom Cruise today, losing his crap on Mission Impossible. So wear your mask if you're around Tom Cruise, guys.
Apparently.
So, I mean, and I guess 5
lose
people
your
quit
job.
today. So, you know, they're all mad on the Mission Impossible 7 set. Yeah, that's what I read. 5 people walked off because he had another tirade. So.
Okay, so here's my real question on this. Who's still watching the Mission Impossible movies?
Dude, Tom Cruise strapped himself to the side of an airplane. Like, legitimately, you can go on YouTube and watch this. The man tied himself to the side of an airplane while it took off, for real.
And a rock hit his ribs and almost broke it.
I'm there for that. Like,
oh, no, I am. I thought the last
that's cool, but
was great.
Dude, I thought it was great. I mean, I'm all about it. The man is
like
60, and he does things that I will never do.
It had Superman in it. How did you not like it?
It did have Superman in it, and that fight was awesome. And Tom Cruise is like my size. I mean, like, he might be a little taller, but not by much.
He's a little guy. That's what I've heard.
He's a little more ripped than I am, obviously, because, you know, I've got the ginger DNA, but...
I like all the memes where he's like a midget. He has to get up on like a high chair and stuff.
I'm a Tom Cruise guy. Like, Top Gun, guys, come on.
Oh, they got so much Top Gun merch in Walmart already. I'm like, bro, the movie ain't even came out yet.
I'm so ready for Top Gun 2.
It should have already been out, though.
If it comes in theaters next year, I will go. Like, COVID or not, I'll be in the theater for Top Gun 2.
My wife said that we are going to go watch Wonder Woman in the theater just so that we can put money towards the theater stuff. So
I may do it too. Yeah. Because I want to see that one in theater, and I took my daughter to the first one. So
I'm gonna be honest. I really do think this is not gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be better than Wonder Woman, the first one. I feel it, and so I'm going to watch it at the house.
I don't even know what that.
You didn't see that when he professed his love for Katie Holmes?
Oh yeah, that
wasn't a good look. I would try to forget about that. Oh, and Tyler, I think the problem is you're working with an iPhone 3. I think that's the size difference there.
You got to prepare me for something like that.
I think you're on the iPhone 3. Okay.
He's got
Amada's over there on the iPhone 12s.
No, I haven't.
Shane's on the iPod Touch still,
and it's black.
Look at that. See, look at this guy, and Tyler's over there with his iPhone 3. He's not even a 3GS. It's literally just the iPhone 3. So sorry, Tyler.
Okay.
We love you, Tyler. We miss you, bro.
We do love you.
We do miss you.
And a great IG post, by the way, too, was awesome.
That's it. Sorry, man.
Roll out with some Indiana Jones.
I was hoping you'd go out on Halo.
We'll save it for Bonnie in the next one.
All right, we got to open with that.
We love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for commenting. Thank you guys for.
We will be out next week.
Christmas.
Merry
Christmas, everybody.
Unless I can talk them into doing something. We'll see what happens. Love you guys. We're out every Thursday, 7:30.
Except next Thursday.